Hello, I'm Aline, a backend developer at GoLedger, and today I'm going to show you how to define a new asset type in a chaincode with CC-Tools. If you don't know much about CC-Tools, you might want to watch our other videos about it, where we introduce CC-Tools and how to set it up for using it to develop chaincodes. To demonstrate in this video, I'll be using our CC-Tools demo repository, which is a sample chaincode giving an example on how to use CC-Tools to develop chaincodes. So here we have our CC-Tools demo repository, which I cloned on my machine. And here in the chaincode directory, we have the asset types, the data types, and the transactions. The asset types, here we have the book asset type, the library in which the books are, and a person who's going to rent the books from the library. Here we have a few data types that we use on the assets. We have the book type, and we have the CPF, which is the Brazilian ID for a person. And we also have a few custom transactions defined here, for example, to create a new library, to get all the books by a specific author, get number of books from the library, and to update the book tenant. And now let's suppose that I want the library to also rent movies beside the books. So to do that, I'm gonna define a new asset type. So I'll come here in asset types and create the file movie. And now I'm gonna define the package asset types, and I'm gonna define our variable, which is the movie, which is the assets. It already imported the assets package from CC-Tools. Assets type. And for the assets type, we have to define a few fields. So the first one is the tag, which is how the asset's gonna be referenced. So it's movie, the label, I'll just call it movie, and the description, which I'll call movie available for rent. And we also have the props, which are assets of type assets prop. And these props are the properties of the asset, for example, the movie name, the release date, and a few other ones, so we're gonna create them now. We have, for each one of the properties, we have a tag. This one I'm gonna do it the name of the movie. We have a label, which is gonna be movie name, a data type, which for this one I'm gonna define as a string for the name, and this other field is if this property is a key or not, if it's a primary key. So I'm gonna put the name of the movie as the primary key, so I'm gonna set it to true, and this automatically defines that this property is required. Now I'm gonna just copy this to be easier, and we can define here our release date, the release date of the movie, and it's gonna be of type date time, and I don't want it to be a primary key also, so it's an optional property, so it's not required. And I'm gonna have also the duration of the movie, so duration, movie duration, I want it to be in minutes, so I'm just gonna specify that here, and it's gonna be of data type number, so the number of minutes. And it's also an optional property, I don't want it to be required. And I'm gonna also add a genre the genre of the movie, so genre and genre. And this one I'm gonna add a custom data type, so it's a data type that we're gonna create later. It will be called movie genre. So this data type we're gonna create, and I want it to be an array of this data type so we can have more than one genre. And I want this property to be required, so required true, it's not optional. And lastly, I'm gonna add here a current tenant, which is the current person renting the movie. So current tenant. And this one, for this one, I'm gonna reference the assets type person. So to do this, I just add this arrow here, which is an hyphen and a more than sign, and the person. So we're gonna reference this asset type here that was already created, and I want this field to be required. So it's done. And now that we have defined our new assets type, I'm gonna come here on the assets type list and tell them here that this assets type now exists, and I want it to be validated and counted in. Okay, so now we defined our assets type and added to the list, and now I'm gonna go do this guy here, which is the movie genre data type. So I'll come here to data types, and I'm gonna create a new file called movie genre. And here I'm gonna define our data type. It will be a bit quicker than what we did in the movie assets type, just to show you how to do that. So first we define the package, which is data types, and also the movie genre type, which will be a float. Here we have defined our movie genre, so comedy, romance, thriller, horror, and action. Now we have a few imports. We start doing our check type function, which we're gonna just check if the received type is one of the types we've defined. And we have for comedy, romance, thriller, horror, action, or an invalid type if it's none of them. And then we have our variable movie genre and our drop-down values, which are the genres we defined. And we have the parse function, which we're gonna see if of what type we received the data type, and if it's float, int, or integer, or a movie genre type that we defined above, or a string. So we validate there here, and then we return the correct data type. So this is it for the data type validation. Very quick, just to show you a bit of the file and how to do it. And we then have to define this movie genre type, data type, on our data types list. So here we're gonna add movie genre and movie genre. Just a few other information we can define here on the assets type is, for example, the writer's definition. So here on the key we can define the writers, which are gonna be an array of string, and we're gonna put here org MSP, which is the org name when we start the network locally with CC-Tools demo. So this one means only org MSP, the org one, can create this asset. And other information that we might want to add is, for example, the read-only property field, which is a field that after the creation of the asset it cannot be modified. So for example, the release date we might want to add as a read-only property. So after the asset is created, this property cannot be modified. And we can have also the default value. So we might want to add as default value 120 minutes. So here it's not really logic to add a default value on the duration of the movie, so we can just take it out, but it is an option to use in a property. And we can also have a validate property. So I'm going to show you here in this person asset type, we have a validate property here in the name. So this validate function is a simple validation. Here in this example, it's only validating the string, that the name must be non-empty. And it's a very simple validation, so it doesn't need to create a custom data type. But if it's a more complex validation, it's better to use a data type. And now we can run the network locally, so I'm just gonna use the script we have here on CC-Tools demo, which is start dev, and I'm gonna define that I just want one node to be in it. So now that the network is done running, I have a few containers here with the network, and I'm gonna access here the Swagger. I just access here on localhost API docs, and we have a few operations here, but here we have these 6 transactions that are already created, already embedded on the CC-Tools. So whenever you create a new asset type, it already comes with these 6 transactions here, which is the create asset, which will create a new instance of this asset type on the blockchain, the read asset, which is to read the asset, the read asset history, the search to perform queries, and the update asset, which updates the asset instance, and delete assets, which deletes the existing assets. So we have these 6 embedded transactions for an asset type. Now I'm gonna operate the chain code in the network using this GoLedger testing web application. This application is connected to the REST API connected to the org1 in the network. So first I'm gonna create a person. So I've created a person, and now I'm gonna show you the person here created. Now I'm gonna create the movie. I'm gonna create here and we have our movie here. So if I can just edit, for example, the movie duration. I'm gonna put it like this, and I can check the history. So first it was this duration, and now I edited is this one. And it's relevant to say that when creating a movie, we have here this curl button that when I complete these fields, this web application is going to call the REST API using this request. So I have the curl here, and it's the request if I fill in, for example, here, the curl is gonna take this information and already put it here. Also, I just want to point out that these actions here represent the embedded transactions that comes with an asset type definition, which are here the create assets, the read asset history, update asset, delete asset, and the search is here, and here you can also search filter. So these are the embedded transactions in an asset type. So in this video we saw how to define a new asset type and a new custom data type with all its informations. And this is it for this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.